get us going with the interview with Miss Mindy Lawhorne. Great.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited about this.
I think this is going to be totally fun. My goal with really sharing this is just letting people know how real we are, first of all, but also how possible being a coach is, and that how you align it up with your life, and it just matches right in, especially with your lifestyle. And so I've got a boatload of questions that I wanted to ask you about coaching and all. But before I go into any of the questions about you or really anything about coaching specifically, I do have one question that the viewers have been throwing a ton of emails into me, asking me a ton of questions about you. And this is the biggest question they wanted to know, is they really wanted to know that when you wake up, do you get all glam or do you stay comfy for the most part of the day?
Well, you know the answer to that, Miss Christine Dwyer. But no, I am comfy with my hair on top of my head in a bun, and I'm usually either in my sweats or my workout clothes, and that is pretty much the most glamorous that happens, unless it's church or unless I'm doing a video.
Exactly. So I'm glad that, this is something that people aren't taking so seriously, but we really wanted to be serious about showing the opportunity of being a coach. And I appreciate y'all jumping on. My name is Christine Dwyer, and I've been a coach for almost 8 years. And so has Mindy. We're almost hitting our 8-year anniversary in about a month. But I like to be able to give a lot of the behind the scenes answers, the truth. And if you follow me, obviously, if you're here on my Facebook page, you might be following me. I'm very honest, and I don't feel that you should ever sugarcoat something just to tell someone what they need to hear. I really want you to know the details. And if you have questions that you want to ask Mindy, feel free to put them in the comments, because I want to be able to ask Mindy on the fly any of the questions. And if you have questions for me as well, you can. But we are going to be getting into the interview, but my team is Team Platinum Presenters. Mindy is one of my coaches on there. She is a Superstar Diamond coach. So what Superstar Diamond means is that is the top rank level that you can achieve in a business center. So Beachbody has the ability to move from Emerald, which is the first level of achievement in rank, up to the highest, which is known as Superstar Diamond, otherwise known as 15-star Diamond. And you can open up multiple business centers. So you can have up to 25 business centers of yourself and achieve it multiple times. That's what I've been able to do. I am a Superstar Diamond 2 coach. And again, we've been doing this for about 8 years, and I wanted to be able to interview some of my most successful teammates. So not just my personally sponsored coaches, coincidentally Mindy is, but I'm going to be featuring a lot of different coaches of variant success levels throughout the organization. And I wanted to be able to do this weekly for you all. So be sure that you tune in for the Real Housewives of Coaching, so that you can see some of the behind the scenes and different personalities and how they're able to really do this in their life and change their life. All right, you ready to get through this?
Let's do it.
Do it. All right, so I'm going to start off with just a simple old question. What was your life like before coaching?
Some aspects of my life were very similar, in the sense of I've been in fitness for some time. Working out to me has really begun, I believe, not only to change my life, but it's kind of part of my purpose. So I was a fitness instructor, I was a presenter, but I lacked discipline. I kind of was barely making ends meet. I actually was a single mom for some time, and it's really, really hard to do. And so my life was very just, I had to make it through the day. I had to make it through the week. I had to get what I needed. I had to basically get what I needed for each week and each bill. And so not just the financial aspect of it, but I was very worrisome. I wasn't planning well, and I had a great life, don't get me wrong, and I still had hope, but it was just distinctly different from now. I still loved it, but it was just so much more work, and I honestly wasn't working very smart at the time. But I was a mom, and you do what you do when you're a single mom.
Yeah. Did you have a full-time job?
I did not, but I taught fitness classes and trained people. So that was technically my full-time job. While I didn't go and sit at a desk or go work 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, I taught a multitude of classes a day. At one point I was teaching 22 classes a week, which if you know anything about classes, that's psycho. But it was a gym and trained. So I was working honestly more than full-time, but it wasn't for just a one sit down at a computer job and then finish and go home. It was early in the morning, late at night, and in the middle of the day.
Well, before you actually really got started building this as a business, you did actually have to get into a full-time career that didn't really allow you to really put a lot of focus in this business for the first year, right? Can you give
so true. I'm happy to go there if you want, but that was after we signed up, and just, kind of in a nutshell, my husband has cancer. And so once I kind of got into this business, I met a guy at a funeral and married him. Hey, go to funerals, my single friends, go to funerals. Yeah. Anyway, and we signed up to do this, didn't really know what we were doing, like all of us feel, and I was sort of skeptical. And I started working it a little, and then he lost his job. Well, he has cancer. What does a mom or a wife think? We have to have insurance. And so I had to actually stop working the business because I took a position at a full-time fitness facility. And they basically said, you cannot do that in addition to this. And I was really heartbroken because I actually had to stop presenting as well, which crushed me, but it was only temporary. But this fitness position, I was like, well, then, okay, I'll at least become more fit, and I will at least know more about fitness. And it just wasn't that type of position. It didn't allow me to work on my own fitness. It didn't allow me to do a lot of the stuff I was hoping it would. And it was just hashtag life. It was just one of those things that, I had to get out of it, to be honest, because I was dying in so many ways. And it just wasn't part of my purpose, it wasn't there for me. So that's where I was, honestly, still as a brand new coach. And I eventually quit without a job, without my husband have a job. I just eventually quit because I knew something had to be better.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. It was such a scary decision for you. For those of you who don't know, Mindy and I have known each other now for about 12 years. We initially met when we were working as presenters for fitness celebrity and life coach, business coach, Chalene Johnson. So we both worked for her company, Powder Blue Productions, and that's when we initially met. But I remember that moment where you were just so unhappy working your career, but you weren't making any significant money yet in Beachbody, that risk of quitting a solid career. And Lee at that time didn't have a job yet. And you were like, if I quit, we have no solid money coming in. But you were so unhappy. And I remember that decision where you just said, and he supported it, of course, to do
totally.
It. Yeah, that's a crazy time. Hey, by the way, nice necklace. That's beautiful.
Well, I couldn't decide which one, Dwyer, so I decided on two. I hope that was okay.
Yes. Okay. So obviously, if you guys watch any of the Housewives shows, they have a lot of flowers and necklaces and beautiful drinks. All right, let's keep going. So why did you decide to become a coach?
Well, initially, I decided because I had already started really connecting with a lot of my friends that were interested in doing this as well. So backtrack about a year before I became a coach, I was sort of in the Beachbody world a little bit, and all these people were doing this coaching thing, but it was no one that I knew, no one that I connected with. And as a matter of fact, we were on the message boards, and those very people that had made fun of the Turbo Girls because they wore hair down to work out and makeup and blingy belts when they worked out, which now that I think about it, that was kind of weird, but that was like part of the tribe, and those very people that were like, you're weird and whatever, were asking me to be a coach and asking many of us, to be coaches. And I'm like, number one, I don't know you. Number two, I don't know what coaching is. And number three, you make fun of us.
Yes.
So that's kind of where it began. And then once you and, many of our friends and people just that we knew from teaching or presenting or just in the kind of the fitness world and even outside, they were like, I believe this is legit. I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm like, you are, me too. What do we do? And then there it just kind of, added up into you going and finding out more information and saying, you know what? I think this is legit and I recommend you try it. And I'm not sure I've ever said no to you. And it's never been a bad thing.
Oh my gosh. Do you ever look back at those pictures of us where do you remember walking into the gym one day to take a class, and we came up to, it was Shalene's class, and we came up to everyone in the room, and they were more maxed out in bracelets and bling more than us. And we were like, we need to add more accessories.
We're like, we're so missing out. Are there sweatbands that we can put jewels on And soon there were.
Oh gosh, looking at those pictures just makes me laugh now with all the chains and everything.
So happy. I was so happy and all that stuff working out.
It was funny. It was fun.
I apologize.
This is life. So this is actually the life of it all. And housewife life. And I'll be done with this live stream and have to walk out to puppy pee probably all over the floor out.
Yes.
Because we got new puppies here. So, all right. So I wanted to talk about that first because you were in Turbo Jam. So Mindy Robinson is the modifier for Turbo Jam. And that's how a lot of people knew her. And Mindy and myself, because again, working for Shalene's company, she launched Turbo Jam around 2005 or so. And we were in the message boards to help people with Turbo Jam because we were Turbo Kick instructors. So we were the ones that certified people to teach Turbo Live. So we were on those message boards called Let's Get the Party Started. And we would just help people all the time. So when Mindy said people were approaching her to be a part of it, I only had one person approach me, and that was around 2007. And I thought it was stupid because I was like, why would we want to pay a monthly membership for supplements? And go get a GNC gold card and buy them at the mall. So that's the way I looked at it, but it was also the way that the person presented it to me, that was what you were going to do, that you were just going to be selling supplements and workouts. And in my mind, I was like, I don't want people to do video workouts. I want them to come to me at the gym. So that's why I wasn't on board. And honestly, a year passed before Shalene actually suggested we check into it because she's been stalking it. And that's where then that whole process of me looking further and us really deciding, oh, duh, we've been promoting this company, helping people all along.
Doing this anyway, right? Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So let's go. Weren't you nervous then, because you were at the time a fitness instructor as also a presenter for Shalene's company? Were you nervous about being a sellout, or that you were going to be labeled as, this pusher for just Beachbody stuff?
Well, honestly, it's funny that you say that, because I know a lot of people that bothers them and they're worried about that. It never once entered my mind, because at that point we were already, one second, girls, doing a video here. My dogs. We were already talking to so many people, and they were like, gosh, I'd love to come to your class. They lived in like New Hampshire. Oh my gosh, this would be so fun to do this, but I live in California and you live in Texas. And honestly, when this first came out, I never thought about being a sellout. I just thought, oh, now I have something to help all those people with, and they still stay connected in my world. So like, I don't know if that was like God or what, but I just was like, I can't see a negative with this because I'm already doing this anyway. I just can't really help those people long distance the way I want to. And like, well, this is a great way to do it. So to me, I was like, I understand that aspect. Yeah. Now, the supplement thing that you were saying, I was kind of like, what? A monthly fee? What? And by the way, remember when we signed up, it was distinctly different from a challenge bag. But one of the things that my husband said, and by the way, he was the one that was like, how much? Fine, do it. That kind of, mentality. But he goes, okay, what do we pay for protein now? Okay, what do we pay for these supplements now? And we honestly put pen to paper, and we're like, well, that would be dumb when we could buy it from ourselves for cheaper. So let's do it. So to me, that part, I'm like, no brainer.
Yeah. And at that time, I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter, and I couldn't have any of the supplements. Shakeology wasn't even created publicly yet at that time. So I was so limited that I couldn't eat or ingest any of the supplements because of being pregnant, and I couldn't take the vitamins because
there was no Shakeology back then.
No. And I was on prenatals. So as a pregnant person, when I first got started, I only could really support people, like you said, in a different capacity of all over, because we were big and hot and heavy on MySpace at that time.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh. And meeting people online, they were attracted to the energy that we had and the videos and stuff that we would put out, and they wanted to do it too, but they lived in a different state. And that's why, this has been seriously amazing. And I always say to instructors, fitness professionals, if you're just focusing on the room, the four walls of people that you're going to be able to impact, you are completely missing out. If you are
very short-sighted, yeah.
If you're valuable, if you feel that you are meant to inspire people and move them into a bigger capacity, then you wouldn't limit the people who are choosing your class. Because What if they don't want to do your workout? Then you can impact them. You know? All right. So let me ask you another question. So when you're surfing the web and start searching for something to buy, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, it has to probably be shoes.
What kind?
Well, I love Nikes, and I'm super into Nike wedges. Probably part your fault too. But like I just ordered my third pair, and then I have a fourth pair I'm waiting on.
Mm-hmm.
So anything fun like that, I just love it. I love it. So shoes probably first. Makeup's another one I love to shop for. And then just clothing. Right now I'm hot and heavy into bathing suits because all of my bathing suits have this bling on it. And I got this long generated FYI telling me that we can't wear bling bathing suits anymore. And I'm really upset at that. So in general, shoes for sure.
I'm seriously nervous about that metal on the bathing suits burning me while I sit out in the sun. So I would not wear metal. All right. So why did you choose Beachbody?
It doesn't hurt at all.
Okay. Why did you choose Beachbody?
Well, because I already had a connection. Really, because I already had a connection with it.
Okay. That makes sense. So,
and I had already seen it. So to me, the other stuff, I'm sorry, just to add on to that a smidgen, I'd already seen it and I already kind of knew it was legit, at least enough to, invest in that. Other stuff I had seen, I'm just like, what is this? What is this? I don't really know that much. I was already connected a little bit, but I already knew that it was real and legit. And I knew people that had already done really well with just the few programs they had when we first signed on.
Yeah. Well, more than it just being the workouts, when you look at Beachbody as a whole, it's the full puzzle for lifestyle.
It's everything.
Nutrition, totally. This community support and growth and development. So I look at it that way. All right. So here's a good old question for you. So some would say that your life is perfect. You're fit. You're beautiful. You have 2 kids, 2 cute dogs, a stud of a husband, a huge new home with lots of land, a pool, Jeeps, trucks. You take tons of vacations and trips. You have no schedule and you're always happy. Others might say it's kind of unreal, unattainable, good for you, but that can't be me. So is this real?
Well, I am happy every day, even through like struggles and stuff, but no, none of that's real.
It's all real. I read you facts. Those are real. You have a big house. You have a pool. You're beautiful.
But that doesn't, it's not like we float through the day. Oh, we don't have anything to do today. What do you want to do? Go see a movie, maybe go shopping. Every day I've learned, and like I mentioned before, I was just so undisciplined all those years ago. Every day is scheduled. We have something every day. Don't get me wrong. We manage our own schedule, but I've never worked harder than managing my own coaches, my own team, my, challengers, and the things I believe that are the most to make those happen every day. But I have to have a schedule every day or we would no longer be able to have this house, and the things. But honestly, from what you've taught me, of course, and what Shalene's taught me, that's how all this stuff came about. But these are all just things. I love them. But the reason I think most of all that we have gotten to move forward with this business is because of what we focused on. And yes, we love the products. And yes, we love the workouts. And yes, I have to die to self every day because I want Cheetos to this day. Yes. And I know better. But that's just how I am. But that dying to self has given us so much of more of an amazing life than just sort of doing things. Like our dying to self is now a longer term because that now gives us a bigger reward. It's like we reap more of what we've sown. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. And the aspect of what you're putting out there, especially on social media, yes, it is an amazing life. You are joyous. You've got a lot of opportunity, but that just didn't fall in your lap because of being a coach. You work your butt off, like you said, but you're still human and you still have struggles, just like you said with Cheetos. I still struggle all the time. It's life. I do with the Oreos and stuff, but that's life. And you're going to have stuff happen in your life. You're going to have negative people still come into your life and have negative influences. And it's a matter of now, how do you handle it and protect your environment too?
That's really, I believe, what has led to the freedom internally, to do this business the way I feel I should. And it's not like I want to do it the way the best coach would. I want to do it the way I feel that God's telling me. It's like what is part of my purpose. And honestly, learning, reading, praying has really helped me, not only, of course, with the discipline side of it all, but realize that when negative things and negative even people come in, one of two things needs to happen. I either need to, learn from it or move myself away from it. And while that is hard in many aspects, I know now that's why we live a life of this kind of freedom. If I'm doing what I feel like I'm supposed to do, everything else doesn't matter. And that is what I've learned from being a coach. I mean, you have to become so much more of a business person, and you have to figure out what really matters, what doesn't, what moves the needle, and what are those little things that we get tripped up on that trigger those emotions or those old memories. And I've just decided, number one, to have nothing to do with some of them. And then the other things, okay, what do I need to learn from this? Or how could I have planned better? Not I failed or I suck. I just know, okay, what can I learn from this? Or maybe I need to take it up a notch. And that has only given us a better view of life, a more, long-term viewpoint, and it's just created so much less drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's more than just being a coach is not just keeping that accountability for your own fitness and your nutrition and all, but more like you said, it's keeping you more accountable to continually bettering yourself, just mentally and your mission in life, which leads me to this. So how has coaching then allowed you to be able to build your brand and your following, but more and so your mission and your purpose?
I love this question. This makes me so excited. Coaching, we had no idea what we were doing in the beginning. Hello. And then I ended up being a year behind, like you and all the people we signed up with, our friends, because of me taking that job. So while I was behind, I was still trying to figure out, how do we do this as a coach? How do we do this? And it wasn't honestly until probably about 2 or 3 years ago that I just decided, if this is just about nutrition and exercise, I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like, if this is just about losing weight, it doesn't have enough of a meaning to me. And so I just decided, with building the brand, I'm going to be completely honest about who I am, what I believe, and what I think. And if people don't like that, it's okay. I love them. They can go follow someone else. But I think that there's going to be a group of people. And that honestly came from me doing soul searching, going, what is the most important thing to me? I love fitness and nutrition. It's part of our life. Duh. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like, reading, for me, like reading my Bible study in the morning. It's like daily. Yeah. But how can this be more? And what really brought me to this decision, Christine, is that I was through helping and mentoring and working with some of my challengers and my coaches, we never just talked about how to post on Facebook. We never just talked about the best salad recipes and, things like that. We talked about heart issues. Mm-hmm. We talked about the things that made people sad while they were so in fear of posting certain things. The things that they kept dealing with in the past and what stopped them from doing what it is they knew they should. And I'm like, now that's got meaning to me. That's legit. That's heart issue. That's whoo. And so as soon as I figured that out, I'm like, I'm going to stop tiptoeing around this issue. And I'm just going to put it out there. And that is what in turn moved me forward to doing what Beachbody has helped me do, and being a coach has helped me do. And that's make my own personal, it's kind of a ministry that I have. It's videos, it's an ebook. It's just funny stuff on how to get through struggle. And I would have never had the guts or the discipline to do it if I hadn't been a coach and gone through all this, just personal development. Yeah.
Well, talk about it. So give us an understanding of what you are working on.
All right. So I have a thing. It's called Hope in Struggle. Hope in Struggle. And this came, of course, from me going to MIA with Chalene Johnson and just thinking, I've got to do something different in addition to this, but that, complements it, but doesn't take away from this business. And it is things that I've held on to in ways I've gotten through some really tough times. So tough times are like growing up chubby. And if you've ever grown up overweight, it's not pretty. And I don't mean pretty looking, but people say stuff and you're insecure and you feel weird and you're just never 100% you, and you overcompensate, sometimes in bad ways. I tried to be funny. So, I didn't go to drugs or like boys. By the way, no boys were interested. But it's like, one of those things. And then I realized, you know what? I grew up the last of 5 kids. I lost my dad when he was very young. He was only 58. I got married, realized quickly I possibly had made a bad decision, which I can't say that because I have a beautiful son, but it was a very tumultuous marriage. And I mean, you were there through most of it. And then I was divorced and I became a single mom. And then I, found this really awesome guy I liked at a funeral. And then within the first few hours of meeting, he told me he had cancer. And I remember I was just like, okay, like it didn't bother me, but that's just to name, a few things. But I'm like, I've never felt defeated. I've always had hope. It just sometimes were worse than others, but I learned from it. And I'm like, I wonder if other people are like me. And then we all struggle. And some of us either learn from it and move forward and then end up reaching other people and say, hey, I've been through that same thing. I just want to encourage you by saying this. Or we do the reverse and we are still mad about that and we blame it and blame. And I just learned that if I could help people even through the little things that we struggle with all the way to the big things I've struggled with, this could be part of my purpose. And my coaches struggle with the same things because why? They're human. Yeah. Everyone struggles with something at some point. So that's what kind of helped me develop that. And I would have never been able to do it if I hadn't, known what I've known and also been able to financially just put that money into it, because it makes no money, but it takes money to do it. And I'm just so thankful for it. I get so jazzed every time I talk about it because it's fun and it's 100% my personality, which just think about that for a second. Think how scared we were to be us. Yeah. And they're going to think I'm weird, or they're going to think I'm a nerd, or they're going to think this. I honestly don't care. I know who I am and I know whose I am. And I just want to help people in the process.
So they can find it at hopeandstruggle.com?
Yes.
Okay. This is exactly the point that we really wanted to talk about, especially when we were pre-talking about this, is that using coaching, which with Beachbody, it's a household name. You open up a magazine, you turn on your TV, it's everywhere. It's pretty well known. And for someone to decide to do this, it's not that you're deciding to become a brand ambassador label for them and that's all you're about in life. Just like for myself, when I first started, I changed my demeanor to be uber professional and soft spoken because my voice was too harsh and I needed to speak like this because it would scare people.
I have to hold back my laughter on that one.
It was horrible doing these business presentations where I was trying to protect who I am. And I can't help that my brain thinks about, there's a problem, let me figure out how to solve it, and then I'll teach you how to do it. That's just how I think. And so I was trying to hide that. But what coaching is allowed is for me to, first of all, accept who I am too, and to also really develop what is deep in my belly and how I want to impact the world personally with what I'm passionate about as well. And that's allowing us, as I said, to be able to build from that support system. I call it the sugar daddy. They're the support system where you're helping people because you obviously believe and love that lifestyle, but we're focusing on applying our skills that we learn, the people that we're impacting, creating the following into a bigger purpose for ourselves. And that's the way I look at coaching.
Totally.
So how is your husband involved with this then?
He's actually, typically you marry your opposite. I mean, but he's good in all the areas where I'm not so good. So he helps me with reports. He's very kind of black and white. He's super attention to detail. So he does a lot of the things that I would sort of neglect to do. And then people and things would kind of fall under, the radar. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'll do it later. Yeah. So, I mean, and as much as this happens, these are our heads butting, which I think is marriage. Hello. We would have never been able to move forward as fast without his help. And so he's not going to really get on the mic and dance around or be in videos that much, although he's been in a couple lately. Yeah. Which is huge for him, but he supports where he needs support. But also, I just want to throw this in there, Chris, because when we were discussing about him, he had a very good job at UT Southwestern Medical. And in addition to that job, they helped support his cancer treatment and research. And why would we ever, give that up? But we felt so called for him to not work that anymore, to come here. But I'll be honest, I didn't want to bring him home. I wanted time. Because when you have someone that has an illness that's technically terminal, although God has shown us differently, you just want time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I kept thinking. And this has given us the ability to be smart enough, to be disciplined and diligent enough we had a goal, and we hit that goal. He was coming home. And he went part-time first, of course, and we, kind of test the waters a little bit. But I know that's a little more than you asked for, but he helps me, with a lot of the back office and back end stuff. Like, he's helping me with the Hope and Struggle podcast, and he and John, your husband, have been talking a bit just on the, logistics of it all. But he's really good at that stuff. But I have to add this in. I mean, he doesn't work that much, and it's okay, because what he does would have taken me 5 hours. He can do it in an hour. But what he does that means the most is he and I are always there for our boys. If it's not him, it's me. Yeah. And if it's not me, like, he's the one that honestly probably knows our schedule better than I do. He's the one, you know what I mean, that takes care of things that I just knew would always be on my plate. Like, how could I run this business and do all this stuff and have all this on my plate? He, pretty much came in like a champion and took so much of that off my plate, and he's better at it than I am. Don't tell him, but he's way better at it than I am.
It's not out anywhere. First of all, Mindy is one of the rare few people. I think there's about 3 people in my life that call me Chris, and she is allowed for some reason.
Am I in trouble?
No, I just got this memory association when I was in 7th grade. I didn't develop yet. I couldn't wear makeup. I had a boy haircut with a rat tail, and I got in an accident. I got hit by a truck, and I was known as Chris Jones back then. So people thought, boy, that's why. So no one ever calls me Chris, but Mindy can. She's one of the people. Okay, so you brought up a good point, and you were about making me cry when you were talking about it, because when people are looking at, growing something for themselves, that's what we're doing. We're growing something so we can improve our quality of life. It is about time. So yes, Lee has cancer. God is the decision factor of when Lee's time is up, but God is a decision factor of when your time is up. And we don't know when that is. And so I look at that as priority with my kids and with my husband. So if I could do something that is going to excel my ability to be able to be present with my family more, rather than working my butt off and only spending a few moments in the night with them, I'm going to work my butt off to be able to make that happen. All right. So how are you able to find people to work with then?
That's kind of a loaded question, but
I think someone who's brand new getting started, how would they continue to find people to work with?
Well, I honestly do what you tell me to do, and do what other people tell me to do too. In the sense of business, is I promote, I talk to people, and I know that that's kind of a blanket weird answer, but with being uniquely you and putting out there what it is that you have, not only do you sort of attract people, but I also search for people with like interests, and I would rather talk to someone about makeup and wedge Nikes any day.
Yeah.
And if you already get me like that, then we're probably friends, and then we would work better together anyway. But I am actively looking. I always am trying to find new people that would be interested. And I think that so much happens when you just continually be consistent, which I guess just the word is when you are consistent, and that then it becomes such second nature just to talk to people and just to reach out to people and just to keep this forward motion going. And there are so many people out there that are interested. There's so many people out there. And I just think because of implementing those things that has truly helped. But I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking.
No, that's exactly it. Because when someone is brand new and they're immediately thinking, well, who am I going to talk to? Their fear, first of all, is that they don't want to just start talking to their friends and their family, which I don't think that
you don't.
Fear, but you're not directly going, okay, who's going to sign?
You want to be my coach?
Right. You don't need to. If you're outwardly living and bringing in the, positive energy and showing that you're, improving yourself, people are going to just watch you naturally, and they'll ask you questions when they're ready. So it's not necessarily that you have to stalk your family and your friends. I think that you should consider asking them, especially when it is someone that you think would be perfect for it. But I don't think you need to badger people as well. But I think the cornerstone really is that it's a decision that you want to talk to more people. Like, you want to be a more social person, because I don't know how many times you've been like in a party or a situation where you're talking to people you don't know, and then you have amazing things in common with that person, and that they are associated with so-and-so when you never knew them. There's so much of that. What is that? 6 degrees or 7 degrees of
7 degrees.
yeah.
To Kevin Bacon.
Yes, a separation.
And you would never know if you didn't ask. And here's my whole thought with that, if I may say so. I think in the beginning, I was so worried what people thought and what would they say and what would they think. And I just realized how selfish I was being, because what if you had never said, Mindy, we're doing this, you should do this. You know what I mean? What if, we had never, you were so worried about what I was thinking about you, that you never said you should do this.
Right. Yeah.
Like, to me, it's rude not to. And not that I'm going to lead with that, but I'm like, I honestly don't care what anyone thinks. I am who I am. I'm solid in my confidence of who God's made me to be. And I'm just going to start talking. And it's like, you always have something in common. And if you make it lighthearted, it's even more fun.
Yeah.
And then the thing the person remembers about you is that they enjoy talking to you. And then it kind of goes from there. But if I'm so scared and so worried and so selfish and not, talk to someone that I'm worried about what they think about me, then possibly having the ability to impact their life in a positive way. I can't live with that.
No, it is about positively looking positive. So if you're changing your mindset where you're not constantly looking at what's in it for me or that person's out to get me, you kind of change your direction in your mindset, and those are the people that you attract and draw in. So when you're outwardly projecting it, whether it be in person, at the store, or online on Facebook, it's your outward projection and magnetism of why people will come to you, and that's where people come. So I do have to let y'all know, I didn't say this up front, but Mindy is a multi-millionaire. So with this business, she has been able to achieve Millionaire Club years ago, but she is also a multi-millionaire in this business. And again, we've been in it about 7.5, almost 8 years. And with that, did you become a multimillionaire because you are a product pusher?
Oh, hell no. I love Jesus, but I say hell every once in a while. No, absolutely not. Because like I said earlier, if this is about just working out and products, I'm going to die. I'm just going to. So no, I believe, tagging on what you said a minute ago, that it's a lifestyle. And even Lee said that. We spoke at the Raleigh Super Saturday this January, I guess. And we were just like, we believe that it's about a lifestyle. I mean, yes, we love T25. Yes, of course, I love anything Turbo and Payo. And we love the 21 Day Fix. We love them. But I mean, like, it's the lifestyle of, I'm always going to work out. I'm going to keep going no matter what struggles come up. I'm always going to try to eat better and look better, feel better. I'm always going to try to, keep myself in great shape, because it makes me a better mom and a better wife and a better coach. So it's the whole lifestyle. And so we did not get where we are, and hopefully where God's going to take us soon, just because we do every program from start to finish 10 times. And by the way, if you do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But my point is this: we have a healthy lifestyle, I believe, because of our values, what we choose to put first. And I still teach classes. So that's not going to be, the 21 Day Fix workout. That's going to be my Turbo class or my Payo class. But the whole big picture, we're trying our best to live a fit life. And that's spiritually, relationally, food, everything. And that, I believe, is what attracts people, because, nobody's a one-trick pony, in my opinion. You're not just a fitness person. Yeah. You're not just that girl that was in the bathing suit that one time at that fitness competition, which, by the way, may I recommend you never do those.
Okay.
Counseling. You're going to be in years of counseling after that.
This leads me to my perfect question that I had lined up for you. So if you were on a reality show, what would you say you would be labeled as? You're the girl that...
Like 10 things are in my head right now. Like, does it have to be one thing?
Well, and I don't know, again, how much involvement you've seen of the Housewives shows, but obviously you said you've seen a little bit of Atlanta and New York City, but each one has like kind of a character, what they're kind of known for. So what would you be known for?
Man, this is tough. I don't like you putting me on the spot like this, because all that's coming in my head is big hair, fast talker that loves Jesus. I don't know. It's all I can think of, but that's not like housewifey enough. Like, it needs to be like weird.
Well, not necessarily. I think, if I was just to kind of boil it down, is yes, you would be known for the girl that would be glammed, because even in your messy, cozy bun days, you still look like more amazing than me. My husband looks at me sometimes and he walks in and goes, whoa, like for reals. It's just what it is. I'm not always getting ready. So I think you would be, because we both live in Texas, but I'm a New Yorker, moved to Texas because Mindy convinced me. And then I moved to Texas, 45 minutes away from her, and we never see each other.
Never.
We only see each other when we fly to a different state.
I know, it's so true.
So, but living here in Texas, you definitely are a Texan. That you probably wouldn't normally wear a necklace like that. And throughout your day in your house. So you're glammed up. So you're always put together.
With my workout TikTok.
Funny, yes. So you'd be the funny person that would always be making like light of a situation or fun of the situation. So you'd be known as the person that's always out to get someone, or none of that. You'd be always a person trying to make everyone just kind of be cohesive and make light of a situation with your big hair.
That would be true.
That's it. Okay. So I've got a couple more final questions here. So can you give me an example of how someone on your team has changed their life because they decided to add coaching as a support system for their goals and their purpose?
Yes. And the two people that come to my mind are Brandy Trisciani and Ember Neville. What's interesting about Brandy Trisciani, she was my very first 2-star ever. She has the most amazing story about just complete redemption from drug abuse. And she now not only continues to make money with Beachbody, but that allowed her to quit her job and open up a gym that she's always wanted to open up. And it's in Ardmore, Oklahoma. And if anyone knows Ardmore, Oklahoma, it's like this big. It's like this big. And like, she has so many clients she can't see straight. Like, she loves it. And that is what Beachbody's allowed her to do. But my second story, which I have to tell you, is about a girl by the name of Ember Neville. Ember Neville, the mom, she thought the best part of life is Friday night with pizza and a beer on the driveway watching kids play. Like, literally, that is what she says. And because of this business, she not only just pretty much does Beachbody, but she had this kind of like twinkling in her eye to open a women's fitness center, but that's more of an outreach, like a safe place. And they work out, but they also do a ton of other stuff. And as of, I think, a year and a half ago, she did that. Not only is that kind of part of her ministry, but they make money now. And it's all, I mean, they have like Shakeology challenges there, and they have, different workouts, of course, that we have. She's had multiple presenters there doing trainings and classes, but she's like, I don't really want to do this for a money maker, although that'd be great, but I just want to help women the way I was helped. And this has allowed her to do that. I mean, she's been begging her husband, by the way, to come home, and he won't yet. But point is, that's too, and the people that they were when I met them are distinctly different than the people they are now. I mean, they're still wonderful and awesome, but there's just a different light about them, and they just have a confidence that they never had really when I first met them.
Well, that's what I see a lot in people when they finally find themselves and they wrap their arms around it. They're not worried about judgment. And that's my motto of Live Fit Out Loud, is because when I'm doing that, I'm, first of all, keeping myself more accountable. So that's why I put up those little workout videos. So a lot of people wonder, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get your own video line? And are you trying to become fit? I'm like, no, I'm not, because I would not want my own video line. I've already done that whole road. But the reason why I do those videos is because, first of all, I'm known for fitness. It does attract people because that's what people want, because I'm a fitness professional. But that keeps me accountable, because if I wasn't taking videos of some of my workouts or taking pictures and putting it out online, then I'm not, I would probably eat more Oreos and skip working out more days than I would choose to, because I don't
Totally
work out.
Totally.
I have to push myself to want to work out. Wednesdays are usually a day where I feel guilty because I don't usually have the opportunity to work out. And I've just finally accepted, just don't work out on Wednesdays, because I'm building myself with it. But that's what I see is when people finally own themselves, they find an outlet to be able to support their goals and their need, because this is a need. Even though being both of us fitness professionals for so many years, we still struggle with making good choices more times than not when it comes to, I think you're better than me with the workouts though. You do work out more than me. I think you do. But I know for me with the food and the late nights and stuff, you got to make that choice and the decision. So that's why I think outwardly projecting it, you're going to keep yourself more accountable, because you're
absolutely
no. And I just got to say this before we move on. I'm not seeing any comments online. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put any good. I just saw it. Thanks, Anna, for so much for putting it out there.
And one thing about that, Christine, now I'm going to stop myself.
Say Chris because it's going to be in your brain forever.
Is that everybody's different. And, there's some coaches I follow that I'm like, oh my God, they're so consistent. They're just amazing. Yeah. And that's fine. We all have different issues and things that trip us up or things that don't. But what I found out is that with this business, I would easily probably sometimes let myself down. Mm. But if I know I'm working with new coaches or I have people that I'm working with a challenge group, I will never let them down. Like that is the worst feeling in the world, to let someone else down for me. So that's a whole nother reason that accountability is there. I'm not going to let them down. What a lame-o,
Yeah. No,
but I let myself down.
It's in your belly. I know, obviously, since knowing you for so many years, but also my belly is we really do what we do because we love lifting people to a higher purpose for themselves that they didn't think was possible. And to be able to show them the way to be able to do it, that's the reason why I do what I do. So we have any other questions? What would you recommend to someone that would like to try this but is not on Facebook or other social platforms? So Yalitza Garcia asked that question.
My recommendation for that is, I first of all, I think everyone should be a coach, and this is why. There's a discount involved. Shakeology is the best thing I've ever found that has so many things, and it's that, I know people think it's expensive, but it's not. When you look at what all is in it, for the love of Pete, we could never make that happen for that price. And it's so good, and I've seen it so many ways that it's helped people. So in general, I think everyone should be a discount person. Now, if you want to work the business, there's just something that you have to take a deep breath in and realize. If you want to be successful, then you want to use all the free marketing abilities and ways to connect with others that you can. And just the bottom line is, social media is where everyone is. And if you don't believe me, Google it. But there are easier and safe ways to do this. I think everyone thinks they have to post their whole entire life on Facebook. Yeah. No, you don't.
No, that's a great point that you brought up. So,
but Instagram.
Go ahead.
I was just going to finish real fast. It's just saying that Instagram's so easy, and there's so many less haters, on Instagram. But the bottom line is, if you do want to do it, you're going to figure out, why do I want to do it? And if I want to do it for a really good, strong reason, then no matter what anyone says, will I stop? And that's kind of where you have to get down the nitty gritty of everything. But everyone's different. I just don't know of a smarter way to promote and work your business than social media, because it's free.
Yeah, that's it for the most part. When you look at the different way people build their business, I think that's the decision of how big do they want to build and how much of an impact do they want to impact. So some people are really liking a close-knit mom and pop. So one of my coaches, Christy Andringa, she's super successful. She's a millionaire, and she's been doing this right along with us for 8 years. But she's done this completely different than any other coach that I've mentored, because she does it in more of a grassroots, local way with people that she touches more so personally as more than she does online. Now she is online. And then that brings me to, if you just follow anything, Mark Zuckerberg, he just put out their conference video talking about the projection of where we're going in 10 years. It's really kind of insane and freaky that if you are avoiding social media, it's just, I think, a poor decision. That's just how everyone's brains are thinking these days.
Right.
Online. All right, so let's wrap this up. Sylvia asked, how do you approach someone who's a fitness instructor and you're just starting?
Just with kind of what I said earlier, why would you want to only make money and help the people that you could see? You can only make money for the hour that you're dancing, you know what I mean? And that you're teaching. And by the way, you don't make any money as a aerobic instructor.
No.
But also you're so limited to just the people that you see. And while those people are awesome and great, why would you ever, limit yourself to just those few people, when if you have that skill and that ability, why not expand it a bit? You will not be a sellout. I am so not a sellout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still teach classes and I love it, but now I don't have to teach 22 a week to pay the bills. And that's just smart. Yeah. I was killing my body and I wanted to be with my baby and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I get paid teaching at the gym. I don't even know if it gets deposited, because
I haven't seen that in so long, but I think all that I switched to a savings account that Lee doesn't know about. I'm kidding. He knows about it. But that all goes in there.
But really when someone says, well, how do you approach this person who would be perfect for it, or this fitness professional, or that, how do you approach these people, especially if you're brand new? Here's the rule of thumb. You don't need to tell anybody what they're going to do with it or how they're going to do it. So it doesn't matter if the person's a fitness professional. I would never walk up to a fitness professional and say, hey, you should check this out because you do great here, and you would do this, and you would do that, and you would do that, because I don't know that person. I don't know them intimately. What I would do is just give them the thought and idea that they might want to consider checking deeper into it. And I would just point them to a video to look at so they can get the nuts and bolts out of what the business is, or something like this. Right. And then they can make the decision. My most important role with that person is actually just following up with them to see what they thought.
Sure.
It's
absolutely.
My job is not, the scary part is not putting it in front of someone, because all I'm doing is saying, hey, you should check this out. The hardest part is following up with them. So that's the way I look at it. All right, let's finish with one more question. What can someone expect to happen when they decide to become a coach and put their health, fitness, and personal goals as a priority?
Well, that's kind of hard to answer because it depends on what that person does. Like if they're engaged and they're like, okay, I want to do this, then they're going to experience some, well, not just progress, but they're going to really experience some personal growth. And it's a little uncomfortable, but what comes out on the other end is amazing. Like you're stronger than you ever knew. You're smarter than you ever knew. And you're like, you know what? I actually did it. And that is kind of where the confidence comes in. And I always use this equation with my coaches. It sounds so silly, but when experience is added to knowledge, you get confidence. And so it's like, oh my gosh, I've experienced these workouts, or I've experienced this meal plan, and okay, and I know the knowledge of how to do this or where to buy it. Then you're like at least confident in that. And not only can you help people with that, but you start to walk differently. You start to feel differently about yourself. And the thing that I think was just so clear to me once, the more I did this, I just cared less and less and less about what people thought or said, because I knew what I knew, and I knew what I was doing was right. And I think that you could never buy something that awesome. You could never make that happen unless you went through the experience of doing it. So I don't know if that's exactly what you were, asking, whoever asked that, but it depends. Of course, you sign up with what they're going to put you through, but at the same time, I'll be completely honest, it is a really cool way to grow yourself personally, physically, and you're going to figure out where your hangups are, and then also where you're really, really uniquely inclined to succeed. Some areas you're just really good at. Other areas you need to have a little help.
Yeah. Well, studies say that people who are healthier, fit, and doing something that they really love, they're just all around happier, sexier, more confident. So obviously, when you are focusing on living more of a quality life for the lifetime that we have left, that's what's going to make you just happier in general and enjoying every day and the people that you're with. So I can't thank you enough again for being part. Can you let people know again where to find you, and also about Hope and Struggle again?
Thank you for having me on. I would love for you to come to Hope and Struggle. I have a Facebook page, but also I have a website, Hope in Struggle. I've got a ton of free stuff. We just updated the website, and I have a complete private community, to where like if you post something, I get it immediately, and we kind of talk. I've got videos. I've got a lot of really, really cool things. So of course we're still coaches, and we love that, and we do that, but the Hope and Struggle side is like my heart, and that's where really big changes have happened with a lot of people. And it's just deciding, how you're going to feel, how you're going to move, and the things you're going to let bother you, and the things that you won't. I'd love to see you there. So come check it out. And if you can't find it, message me and I'll help you find it. Totally.
Well, thank you guys. And if you are still considering to becoming a coach and you don't have a coach and you would like me to be your coach, feel free to message me at contactchristined@gmail.com. If you would like to contact Mindy, how can they reach you at thehopeandstruggle.com? Is that where you want to?
Or MindyLawhorne.com.
Okay. Or if you're already working with a coach, make sure that you reach out to them so that you can kind of dig in more about the nuts and bolts about the business. I didn't want to talk about the products and the compensation plan and all that stuff. You can learn all that stuff later. Obviously, it is working, and we wanted to show you the lifestyle that you can have when you focus on something that you're passionate about. So thank you all for coming, and thanks again, Mindy. Love you.
Love you too. Thanks for being on, guys. Bye.